The state's largest environmental groups has decided not to endorse any of this year's gubernatorial candidates. The decision comes as Governor Corzine faces increased criticism over his policies. Environment correspondent Ed Rogers has that story.
The decision by Environment New Jersey not to endorse in this year's governor's race might be seen as a setback for Governor Corzine because the administration had worked on some of the same global warming and clean energy initiatives as the 20,000-member group.
My DEP commissioner, who was here for 3 years, got chosen by President Obama to come down and run the Environmental Protection Agency. I don't think there's a stronger endorsement than the president saying what you're doing in New Jersey makes sense for the country.
The group says it made the decision because they don't believe either Corzine, Chris Christie, or Chris Daggett would make the environment a priority. Earlier this week, the Sierra Club issued a press release saying the group's leadership agreed with the content in an ad from the Republican Governors Association saying Corzine had the worst environmental record of any recent New Jersey governor. The Sierra Club had endorsed Corzine early on during his 2005 election bid.
We see an administration that has weakened protections in the Pinelands, weakened protections of the Highlands, weakened protections for clean water, and has turned New Jersey open to the developers.
The first 2 years of the Corzine administration were marked by some ambitious environmental accomplishments. An executive order and later a bill establishing a plan to cut greenhouse gases. Work began on an energy master plan to reduce power usage statewide by the year 2020. The state is developing offshore wind power and is number 2 in the nation in solar installations. And Petty's Island in the Delaware River was preserved this year. Debbie Manns worked as environment and energy advisor during the first 2 years of John Corzine's administration before she left to become the New York, New Jersey baykeeper. During that period, she says the priority was to get those agenda items rolled out.
The fiscal reality, perhaps, even though we had the budget shut down, hadn't really sunk in. And what does that mean for the Department of Environmental Protection? I mean, it was forcing a hiring freeze and really limiting the ability to fund new initiatives in the state that the governor had campaigned on.
Another controversial issue is the cleanup of thousands of contaminated sites. The Corzine administration inherited a cleanup program that many say was broken. Critics point to the Kitty College case in Gloucester County. A daycare center was opened on the site of a former thermometer factory, even though mercury contamination was left behind. To fix the problem, a licensed site professional program is now in place. Developers will be required to hire certified consultants who will make sure polluted sites are cleaned up before construction begins. Environmentalists say that's a conflict of interest. Manns has the perspective of working on environmental issues as a government official and an environmental advocate.
I know, having worked through, again, the budget cycles, hiring at DEP is not an option right now. And so to say that we are going to put more bodies on it is a difficult proposition when you look at what's happening statewide at the budget. That being said, is the licensed site professional program the end of the world? You know, I'm not sure. I think that it has to be very, very carefully audited.
Some observers say the criticism has become personal.
It's a complicated environmental community here in New Jersey, and that there are a number of voices that have an opinion on this that perhaps aren't being heard.
Both the Sierra Club and the New Jersey Environmental Federation are likely to announce their gubernatorial endorsements within the next few weeks. Ed Rogers, NJN News, Trenton.